Welcome to the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. I am your host, Gauthier the ET Whisperer. The Enlightenment Evolution Hour is a part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Any ideas expressed by the guest, myself, or commenters may not necessarily reflect the same opinions of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Enlightenment defined. It is the state of giving or receiving greater knowledge and understanding about a certain subject or situation. Evolution defined. The gradual development of something, especially from a simple to more complex form. So what is Enlightenment Evolution? The state of giving and receiving greater knowledge as we develop from a simple to more complex human being living on Earth for our soul's experience. Welcome now and join us as we explore our Enlightenment Evolution Hour together. The Enlightenment Evolution Hour is simulcast live every Wednesday at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific from the Enlightenment Evolution Hour page, Matrix Minds Facebook page, and the ET Whisperer YouTube channel. It is also redistributed from the Forbidden Knowledge News Network and Conscious Awakening Network. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. I am your host, Rob Gauthier, and we are here today with an amazing guest, and we'll be talking about Kristine Aslan as soon as we get back from doing the announcements. So I want to share a little bit. As you guys know, announcements do detail many things that are coming up. Tonight we originally had Oriya Mirza. Riz Mirza was a guest last week, and Oriya is his partner, wife, and teammate. And she is an amazing person. She wasn't feeling well, so they let me know earlier today, last night in fact, that she might not make it, and then today they verified it. So she's already on the up and up, and on the 6th we will be bringing her back, so check that out when it happens. We also have several other guests. I'm waiting to get the announcement for those, and I will be sending you the information as it goes, so keep an eye out. You can always check all the latest details on the Enlightenment Evolution Hour Facebook page, which will soon have its own website, and or you can check out everything via my own personal Facebook, our Discord channel, Twitter, Instagram, all those things. Just look for ET Whisperer or look in the link tree in the description below. Secondly, the network announcements. We have Out There Talk with Valiant himself back on air. He's taking guests, and they are amazing guests that he has in that show. That's an Instagram live show every Tuesday and Wednesday. So tonight, after you're done here, you can go over to Instagram at 12 midnight, which is 11:59, he calls it, so that you know that it's that day. So 1 minute before midnight tonight, and then that's 7 Pacific. You can go to at Out There Talk, all one word, and you can go check out his live stream. Also, the mothership is going to be down for a little bit. SPG, my dear friend, is having a surgery on the 28th, and he is one of the hosts, and his wife is a second host. They have 3 hosts on that show. 2 of them will be out of commission. Him getting ready for that is something, so they might be back here in the next couple months. As soon as they go back to doing shows every 2 weeks, we'll let you know here, and we'll drop the links and information to find the mothership. But if you go to the mothership on YouTube or look at the mothership on Facebook, it's got all the archives of their old shows, plus work that SPG, William Piper and Sierra Rose did together. I've had both of them as guests on my show before, so go check that out. You can find their links in those shows, whether it's archived or on the YouTube channel. Now, ET Whisperer announcements. We have the Sedona Transcendence Retreat. You guys get 10% off with the coupon code ROB10, capital R, little OB, 10. You guys can get 10% off, and they've also dropped the rate to come in for people who are coming in. If you get the VIP pass, that pays for everything. You'll have the 3 days there at the retreat. You're also going to get the experience with me and Ruben Langdon from Interview with Extra Dimensionals doing the CE5 outside, which is going to be amazing. We're going to be doing those both nights. And I'm not sure if half the VIPs go one night and the others the other, or how that works. But the information is on the website, and you will get an opportunity. And also with a VIP pass, you can say, hey, I came to watch Rob, or I came to watch this person, or I want to watch these people then and these people then, and make your own schedule. If you just pay for the admittance fee, then they throw you where you want to be. They'll throw you in the certain parts of it that they do. And with the add-ons, you can go to the workshops or to the outside retreats, because I'll be doing workshop there, and I'm going to be doing nature walk out in Sedona, where the vortexes are amazing. We're going to connect to our guides and really work with the energy out there too. So it's a really amazing event. You guys will definitely want to check that out. Before getting into that, I'm going to go ahead and read the bio for our guest, because again, I could go on with announcements for hours and hours, but instead what we'll do, Kristine Aslan is a world famous adult actress who, through her profound spiritual awakening and her own healing journey to rid herself of several digestive issues and great concern for ending up living the rest of her life in a wheelchair from spine degeneration, discovered the power of Cambo frog medicine. Cambo frog venom for some of you guys. It's a great potential to heal on all levels, and is now a Cambo ceremony facilitator and energy healer residing in Southern California. So I think better than telling you guys more about, we just bring her in and talk to herself. How are you doing?
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I appreciate you being here. And this is something we really enjoy having people who are new to the show coming in and sharing their story. So I want to start off with where I start off with everyone. It's not so much, what's your story, but I want to know about the thing within your experience through your childhood and building part of that energy that created the version of you that was able to go through all these things, doing the adult filming industry, going into Cambo medicine, being open to spiritual experiences. So kind of give us a picture of how your life was built before your story. It would be great to hear.
Okay, yeah, sure. And I do just want to mention that my son's daddy is about to take him out on a stroller walk. So if you hear him in the background, they're just on their way out the door. So yeah, thank you so much for asking. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I guess I can say that I grew up as someone who was always different. I always knew I was different from other kids. I I'm an indigo child. A lot of you probably watching Rob's channel know that term. Um, I have an indigo and purple aura, and that term basically just means it's certain spirits that come to Earth with a very specific mission to change the paradigm of Earth to something completely new, completely better, something that works for everyone, oneness and love. So I knew since I was very young that I am always connected to spirit and my angels, and I was never afraid to die. I just always knew, whenever I die, whenever it's my time, I'm going to be back home. Just always had this knowing. I grew up as kind of a loner, and didn't really have a lot of friends, and that's kind of typical of indigo children. So I'd have friends here and there. I was kind of a tomboy. I grew up with lots of birds, like probably had like 15 or 20 birds. And still to this day, besides frogs, of course, birds are my favorite animals. I'm kind of like the bird whisperer, honestly. And
I like that.
yeah, like I can potty train birds to poop in toilets. Like it's no joke.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. Um, I love animals, basically. Um, So yeah, I would say I grew up kind of a lonely child, kind of shy, but just a very deep thinker, very deep in my emotions and in my internal world, and love to be out in nature. And then I remember just around age 14 or 15, I looked in the mirror at my own reflection, like so deep into my own pupils. And I just had this knowing that came across me. And it was that I was going to be known all over the world. I was going to be famous. And I didn't know how at the time, but I knew it. It was this super strong knowing. And then as I started to mature, I became even more in touch with my own sexuality. And by the time I was 21, instead of using my degree that I had just got in health and exercise science, I decided I really just wanted to do what was the most exciting thing for me at the time, just like what Bashar says to do, right? Follow your greatest excitement in every now moment without any expectation on the outcome. So that's what I was doing, and I decided to be a stripper. The world of stripping led me into, I guess it wasn't really into the world of porn because that was my swinger lifestyle. I used to be married for 7 years, and yeah, that was kind of my gateway into the adult film world. And I met a porn couple in Vegas when I was living there, and they were so interesting, and they were such nice people. And I was like, wow, how can I do what you guys do? I was like, aren't you guys concerned about STDs and stuff? I mean, like, that's the only thing that would ever be stopping me. And they were like, we get tested on a regular basis and everything's a professional set. And I was like, oh, I was like, how can I do this? So I asked my husband about it at the time if he would be okay with it. And he said yes. And I was like, really? Wow. So I went to California, got signed up with an agency, and from there I started to do the adult films, and I found myself only nervous for maybe the first 2 minutes of my first scene, and then I just completely relaxed and just was so at home on camera and in my own body, with connecting with other people in my own sexuality. And so I was in that world for, I'm, slowly trickling myself out of that world, transitioning fully into the healing world. And yeah, it was 2008 when I got into that world.
Yeah, and you were pretty well known throughout that world. When you had shared that fact with me when I had talked to you a long time ago, um, I had looked up the name and saw many videos that were attached to it too. So, uh, I mean, you were out there pretty well.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been nominated at AVN many times. I won an AVN award, and just in the past few years, I've been nominated for, this is such a funny category. Every time I say it, I laugh, but MILF of the Year.
Yeah, MILF of the year. I mean,
MILF,
that's
yeah, MILF Performer of the Year. Yep.
well, that's great though. That's amazing. It's amazing to do anything that you like to do, anything you're excited to do, anything you're good at doing, and get recognition for it. It's a beautiful thing, and that those awards are basically saying, "Hey, you're the best person in this part of our whole community," and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, honestly, I can say that entering the world of adult films has been very healing for me because, like I said, I grew up shy and, inward and didn't have a lot of friends. And so to be able to go on a movie set and without using any words per se, but just like it was my opportunity to really connect with somebody on a deeper level, that was very spiritual and special to me. And everybody has their own views on adult films, and that's okay. I think that the world of adult films is an entire spectrum. It's a great thing. It's a great area, because it has a lot of both dark and light, and it depends on what you're watching. And it also depends how the film is going to turn out based off of the performers. So for example, if I get booked with somebody who is like really outgoing and they're just so happy to be there, it's going to bring that out in me. But if I get booked with somebody who I can tell is really jaded and very like robotic and they're just doing it for the money, then I'm still going to try my very best to let go, surrender, have gratitude and just like enjoy whatever I can about them. But those scenes they're gonna turn out different than the ones where the other performers are really making an effort to open up and connect with me too.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think you're right too. What you said about the difference in perspective. I've always seen adult films, pornography, anything in that people use terms for. I've always seen it as mostly benign. I was exposed to extremely young. A lot of my own sexuality had been kind of sparked through the magazines in the 80s. There wasn't a ton of film available like on the internet. Like you can just click words now and go watch it for free as frequently as you want. But back then it was a little different. And the exposure level, I was exposed to it quite young through friends of mine who had parents who were very active and open about their sexuality, not active in a sense of making sure we all knew they were having sex, but just they had a healthy understanding of sexuality with each other, and through that, the kids snoop around, and especially back then, because that was the only way you could see it. So obviously, my friends went into their parents' stashes of books and stuff, and that's how I did. So I've always seen it as benign, but I also had recognition of it when I was addicted to drugs. There was a large part of me that also started exploring the darker aspects of my own sexuality. Um, and I think that's pretty normal too, because all of us are humans, and humans come from animal, and our animal instincts were kind of cut short when we were messed with our DNA and changed. So a lot of our sexuality wiring is really messed up. And when I was on my own drugs, I was, doing the drugs and really messed up in my own mental state and emotional states and all sorts of. So that's when I really had to stop. After I got off the drugs, I kind of stopped watching it. Occasionally here and there, if something popped up that looked interesting or fun or funny or whatever, I would check it out. But for the most part, and that was to do with my own energy about the addictive behaviors and the dark parts of that that I went through. But I think for a lot of people, it can be a healthy way not to have sexual frustration. Our energy between masculine and feminine, men and women, and sexuality in general is a real horrible dynamic here, especially in like United States or more Greek utopian countries, things that came from the democratic Greece and grew from there, because Christianity brought that idea that sexuality is bad unless it's only between a man and a wife, or between that whole situation. And then it really got bad in the 1600s through 1800s, where women would get hung or burned for having sexual relations outside. So it got really dark there too. And since then, a lot of people still hold that belief it's not okay to be a sexual person. It's not okay to have sexuality. Did you find a lot of that with people that you knew or family members, or when you would tell people, hey, I do this type of work? How bad did the reactions get from people?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've never really had anybody say anything negative to me about it. Um, yeah, uh, it's been pretty awesome actually. I feel, and it's interesting because I know that there's some other actresses who have had a really hard time with a lot of negativity and being bashed for what they do, and their, bank accounts shut down and all kinds of stuff. And um I'm I'm very aware that we attract our own reality. And most of my experiences in the adult film industry have been Mostly pretty positive. I mean, here and there, I've had my challenges on set, but you know, I don't know how many years I was active, and I think probably about 14 years, pretty active. And most of my experiences, I just had a lot of fun. And, people cheered me on, and yeah, just good times. So
Well,
I
that's great.
if anybody ever said anything negative about me, it was behind my back, and that's okay because everybody's allowed to have their own perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's amazing too. I come from a pretty Christian family, and sexuality only was able to be talked about after we turned into adults. So, like, not even in our 20s, just like 30. Talk. My dad was very open with me and communicated about it a lot with me whenever I had questions or something like that. But yeah, I can imagine if the roles were reversed, if that would have been me, I probably would have been getting a weekly conversation with my mom about, being mindful of the Bible, things of that nature. It could have been a fun time, but yeah, no, it's wonderful to see people that you love support you. It's wonderful to do what you love and to make money off it and to get recognition. So yeah, that's great. And if it was a good experience, it led you into good, positive feedback from your vibration and your creation part of it too. So, um, I want to see what the situation is from there. How did you go from being in this community to start doing this Cambo frog medicine? And first of all, can you tell us a little bit about what that is? Because some people might not have any clue of what Cambo medicine is.
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So, um, in a nutshell, Cambo is the waxy secretion from the Medusa bicolor frog, also known as the giant green monkey tree frog, or the Cambo frog is its nickname. And it's found in abundance in the upper Amazon rainforest. It has almost no predators because of this venomous secretion that covers its back. So nobody's out looking to eat this frog. So it is super everywhere. And it's a bright lime green, beautiful frog, with like little cream colored fingertips. And it's just so cute. And it barks and it's nocturnal. So like instead of like the normal ribbit, it's like rar rar rar. Like it barks like a dog. And it's actually so peaceful that you can pick it up. Like if you ever visit the Amazon and you see one of these beautiful frogs, you can actually gently pick it up and it'll just chill on you. Like it's so cool. Um, so this secretion from the Cambo frog, known as, quote unquote Cambo frog medicine, we're not technically supposed to call it medicine because the Western medicine pharmaceutical companies they don't like that. So
No.
we're just gonna say what it is. It is a venom made of peptides and neuropeptides. And what are peptides? Well, they're basically just amino acids. And in different ways that amino acids are arranged, they can create different things. They can create hormones, they can create, different things, different proteins, right? And so that's what it's made of. And when mammals um, have this venom applied to the skin through a small superficial burn entry point, which we call a gate, in a very precisely measured amount, it then enters the body and it starts circulating through the body, including it has access to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is so fascinating because it's like, God designed it that way so that, humans can heal with this and heal their brains. It's incredible. And they go straight into your brain, and the neuropeptides work on memory, work on focus, work on PTSD, anxiety, depression, addiction, um, sleep problems, decalcifying the pineal gland. I mean, you name it, it does it. It's literally a miracle. I mean, when I say miracle, I mean, of course, this is my own belief, my own opinion, but I get to witness miracles for a living. This is so exciting. I mean, not only does it have the potential to assist people in their healing journey through all kinds of diseases, but it's common. It's super common that people receive their own miracle when they're sitting in a Cambo session or a Cambo ceremony. I do ceremonies. Basically, uh, you do a 20 to 40-minute session or ceremony where we begin with some deep breathing, some meditation, and centering yourself and wearing something loose and comfortable. And I'm just there to hold space, right? So I'm the facilitator. I'm not the one healing you. I'm just there to um, encourage you and guide you to make sure that you feel safe and supported during your own journey with the Cambo as it enters into your body. And you set your intention, and we call upon angels, ascended masters, and yes, I do call upon Metatron.
Heck yeah.
Every time. He's my buddy. So is Jesus. Jesus is always there. Um, yeah, I got all my homies. I call them my homies. Gonna call in the homies. And and I can feel when each one comes in. It's so amazing. Um, and then we set your intention. So it's important when doing shamanic work to just set one clear intention. So I have people that come that say, "Oh yeah, okay, so I want to work on this and this. Oh wait, I want to work on this too." I'm like, "Okay, that's great. Maybe you can come back another day for those. Let's just pick one." And the amazing thing is that the Campbell frogs, the spirit, the collective of the Campbell frog spirit is there. It is present. We call it in, and it listens to you. It listens to what's in your heart and what's in your mind. You can either say your intention in a form of prayer in your head, or you can say it out loud. I feel it's more powerful with the vibration of the spoken word. But either way, Cambo's going to listen to you, and it's going to scan your body, and you're going to feel it. It's going to usually start in your head, and then you'll feel it scanning and going down towards your feet, and then from there, um, it can go to different areas in the body where it's needed for whatever your intention is. And maybe your intention is to rid some kind of physical ailment from your body, or maybe it's something emotional. Maybe it's somebody who has been raped when they were 5 years old, and they're holding this trauma in their womb, or maybe it was a guy, whatever. But it will go, the energy of the Cambo spirit and the peptides, it will go to that area, and it will start creating heat and pressure and warmth and just tingly feelings. It's different for everybody. And it'll
Yeah.
start to remove that.
Yeah, that's kind of my question then. What's the most common thing that people are using it for? I know it can heal most thing or everything. It can kind of work in that way, but what are people mostly using it for? When you get people who are first getting into this, that maybe it's their first or second time doing it, why are they there usually?
Well, some of the most common things that I see is anxiety and depression and PTSD, which it's super helpful for, as well as addiction. So, for example, addiction to cigarettes, addiction to, pain pills, even things like alcohol. It specifically is super good with anything that's opioid related. Um, but it can help with other addictions as well. And another common thing I see a lot is digestive issues, as well as infertility. Women who have not been able to get pregnant, or just want to heal their reproductive system so that they can get pregnant and have a healthy baby. Um, I also see people with migraines, vertigo, people who are on different kinds of medications that want to not be on those medications. Um, yeah, I would say, as well as diabetes is pretty common. Um, People who want to have clarity of mind and just more energy. People with autoimmune diseases, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So the opiate thing is very interesting because I know a lot of people who do mushroom journeys or ayahuasca journeys. These types of natural plant phenomenon help them a lot with that. Can you tell everyone kind of like what the experience is when you do take this frog or Cambo frog venom? I'm trying to make sure I say it right for all the pharmacy industries out there who like to sue people. But
Yeah, yeah,
what does
yeah.
it feel like?
All the Western medicine pharmaceutical people who just so happen to have 70 patents alone in the United States right now on Cambo peptides because for some reason they like it.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's yeah, I mean, that shows there's something to it right there, right? So,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
yeah. So let's see, what was your question again?
Basically, what it feels like when you're doing the Cambo frog venom, like how does it make you feel? Is it a very a lot of people associate that with like hallucinogenics. A lot of people associate it with um, oh, what is that called? Disassociative drugs like angel dust or something like that. What's the feeling in the body and the mind when you're doing it?
Thank you. That's such a good question. First, I want to start off by saying that unlike things like, ayahuasca and medicinal mushrooms in certain instances and things like that, Cambo actually is 100% completely allowed by law. It is 100% completely legal. So,
Oh wow,
yeah, so you're
I had
able
no clue.
to, yeah, right. So that's a pretty important factor for a lot of people to know because certain people they want to receive, uh, they want to expand themselves. They want to have more ease in their body and less dis-ease, right? And but what's holding them back is they don't want to get in trouble legally. So this you can advertise it, you can film yourself, you can talk about it, you can it's wonderful. You can share it with your friends, your family. Um, and let's walk through a typical Cambo experience. All right, so you come for ceremony. You can have something light for breakfast if you want. You don't want to be like totally weak. Like you don't want to like fast like the day before or anything like that because it's actually really important to feel strong in yourself, in your body. So like for example, if you had a cold or something, you're just feeling weak, it would not be a good day for you to come to a Cambo. You want to get a good night's rest before. Try to avoid, greasy fast food and things like that for like a few days following, and just try to, have some self-care and eat healthy and stay hydrated. And then hydrate as normally the morning of. You can have coffee as long as it's 4 or 5 hours before you show up for ceremony, because Cambo is a stimulant and you wouldn't want to already be stimulated when you arrive. Any kind of herbal supplements or medications, you want to completely avoid those until after you have your ceremony, as well as go over any medications previously with your facilitator to make sure that nothing is contraindicated, meaning like could be make something interact in your bloodstream and be unsafe. So you sit down and, like I said, we relax into it, calling upon angels, ascended masters, set your intention, and then it's time to offer you some rapé, also known as hape, which is a sacred tobacco snuff from the Amazon rainforest, which our wonderful tribe friends make for us and send to us with so much love. They have such dedication while making um, this beautiful ash. It's basically the white part of the ash from the fire that they're burning, that which they do prayer and song over for about 9 hours on average, and then they take that white part of the ash from the wood and they mix it with with tobacco ground up super, super fine powder, and then usually one other plant, like one other flower or bark or herb from the Amazon, depending on the effect that they're going after for that type of rapé. And this is a snuff that I will blow up your nostril one at a time, and then you just close your eyes and relax. And that could make your nostrils kind of burn inside, kind of like when you accidentally snort a little bit of chlorine in the pool. Make your eyes water. And that is totally optional. Everything is optional. Everything is in your control as far as what you are comfortable with and what you're not. And I let everybody know that it's very important that people feel safe and in control in those aspects. But that's basically going to clear your mental body, meaning like clear thoughts from the mind and clean your auric field, as well as ground your spirit completely into your body so that you feel grounded, present here, and ready to receive your Cambo. And then, so we can drink a little bit of water to start, and then I'll have you drink more water in the middle of the ceremony. But the water is um, to act as like a lubricant for your stomach so that if you happen to have a vomit percolator, which I'll talk about in a minute, is actually very beneficial. It's your own toxins coming from your gallbladder and liver that are coming out of the body. So the water is a container for all of that so that when it's time to vomit that up, you're not just dry heaving. Um, and so, yeah, we drink some water, and then I'm applying the Cambo to your arm. I do a real quick little burn point, usually on your deltoid, like your shoulder arm area. I could also do your ankle. I could also do energetic points and scan your back energetically and see like where it wants to be, or anywhere on your body where it wants to be. There's only a few points where it's not good to put Cambo. But the most common is just, the arm, like the shoulder area. And then that doesn't even really hurt. It's just a real quick prick. And then I wipe off the first couple layers of skin with a baby wipe. There's no blood involved or anything. Um, and then I place a very precisely measured amount of the frog venom onto your burn point. And then from there, it's going to immediately start going into your body. And you'll start to feel the effects usually after about 2 to 3 minutes. And it'll come on more slowly the way I do it. With some facilitators, I know that they just kind of like slap a certain amount on, and you can get blasted with Cambo, meaning like full on rush of effects. But I feel it's very important not to do that to people because it's important to feel open and relaxed energetically in order to receive the highest benefits of Cambo. And in order to do that, you need it to be like a very gentle and slow, gradual increase. And then if somebody tells me that they feel that they would like to just stay where they're at and maintain that level. Or for example, oh, I'd like a little bit less. I'll just remove it. I'll play with it, with the levels. And so from there, you start to get like a red flesh face. You feel pressure in your face, your ears, your head, and that's just your blood pressure rising and the peptides doing its thing, and scanning your body and going different places. And you may from there, um, if anybody's had a niacin flush, like the vitamin
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
B6 or B3. Yeah, it's like that. Like super nice and flush. You're gonna look cherry red. Um, you'll feel
Yeah.
really you'll feel really warm. And then you might feel like a lot of pressure in your head, or you might not. You might feel your heart suddenly go ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. And that's a healing of the heart, right? So that's just part of its effects. You might feel tingles. A few more minutes into it, then you'll feel a blood pressure drop. So then it'll go from like feeling warm and tingly and a lot of pressure to okay, now it's like no pressure, and now I'm feeling cold and I'm white and clammy, and all of a sudden I'm feeling nauseous in my tummy, and that's the toxins coming from my gallbladder and liver, which my Cambo has made purge into my stomach. And normally we have small amounts of toxins in our bile inside of our gallbladder that slowly come out into the stomach when we digest fats. But in the instance of having Cambo, it instructs the gallbladder and liver to squeeze and secrete all of the bile in one go. And
Holy
so
moly.
yeah, so that can make your tummy feel slightly nauseous, and then from there, the toxins will either leave through the form of a bowel movement, and you'll just feel like you need to poop, and you're just going to excuse yourself from the ceremony, and I'll wipe the venom off of you, and it'll start to fade out pretty quickly, the effects. And you can excuse yourself and use the toilet, and then come right back and sit back down. And then I would ask you, okay, would you like some more Cambo? And if you do, then I just apply some fresh Cambo again, and we just continue. And from there, you may feel some shakes. Shakes are super common. And something I learned in my breathwork facilitator workshop is that when we shake, it's actually a form of our nervous system releasing trauma, which is so cool. And anytime I shake in a ceremony, or anytime I see somebody else shake in a ceremony, I'm always so happy for them, because I'm like, yeah, they're letting go. They're letting go. This is awesome. And it's not something that you have to actively participate in. That's what is so cool about it. Actually, the best thing to do in a Cambo ceremony is just relax, just let go, just chill, and just let it do its thing. And actually, the more you trust and the more you let go and surrender and open your heart and think of something you're grateful, like maybe you're grateful for your healing, right? And that warmness and openness of your heart chakra is actually what's going to invite the frogs to do the deeper healing work on you in the higher dimensions. Every dimension is connected, as you know. And the spiritual surgery part of Campbell, where people receive super profound healings like I have had with my own experience, um, come from surrender, come from having that open heart. And so, yes, when we have Cambo, everybody's going to receive the physical benefits of the peptides themselves, but that's only a certain percentage of what's possible, you know.
So
So
it's just
it's
like a
really,
surface layer.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, you got some digestive issues, we're gonna clean you out. Oh, you got Lyme disease. All right, we're gonna go after the Lyme, stuff like that. But it can do much deeper spiritual surgery on you and go deep into different layers of your bodies, because we have our mental body, our emotional body, like all these bodies, not just your physical body. And so by opening up and letting go and opening the heart in love, in peace, in trust, that is when we are giving ourselves energetic permission. We are opening the door for Cambo to come in deep into us. And we're just saying, hey, I trust you. Do your work. And it will do the work. Some people receive their miracles or whatever they're asking for in one ceremony. Some people, it's in 3 ceremonies. For me, it was after day 2, but I did 3 ceremonies. I did 3 in a row to, just finish it off. But yeah, so it really depends. And then an average ceremony usually takes about, I would say, 25 minutes, like from start to finish when I'm applying the Cambo before
Well,
I wipe
that's
it
not
off.
very long. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
not too bad.
super quick. But you're there for like probably an hour because, um, you know, you're gonna fill out a waiver, saying that if you do this, you're doing it at your own risk. Yes, Cambo is safe for most people to do. But there's always the exception of people who may have been indulging in some substances or have some kind of health problem that is not safe for those people to do Cambo, and they're not going to tell you about it. So legally it's important for facilitators to legally cover themselves, right? So I have you sign a waiver, and then sit down, relax, get comfortable, and between that, the rapé, calling in angels, everything takes about 1 hour.
Yeah, it's interesting because someone asked where they can get that done, and I said that you are doing these in Southern California, but I honestly have no clue how you would find people unless you just knew them or had some kind of connection. I'm sure because it's legal, probably a lot of people advertise, but what part of Southern California are you in, if you can share that, or at least where you're willing to travel, the area that you're traveling to give these ceremonies?
I'm in Orange County. So, for those of you who've never been to California, Orange County is right below Los Angeles. And it's right above San Diego. So yeah, I'm right in the middle, close by the beach. Um, if it's at my home, I'm willing to serve women, but I'm careful about who I invite into my home. So like, I don't want men
Yeah.
coming, because like a lot of people recognize who I am. So I just don't want like strange men like coming in my home.
No, I don't blame you a bit.
Yeah, so I offer it like locally to women, but if it's a group ceremony, then I'm willing to travel as long as it's worth my time, and if it's worth it for me to go, because I do have to get a babysitter for my cute little baby and all that.
Congratulations on being a mom. I've been watching your Facebook, and wow, you've had such a great time with that little guy, and he looks so happy. And I'm really, really happy and excited for you because you're a good mom, and I know you love that little guy with all your heart. He's so adorable too.
Thank you. I do. I love him so much. He's 6 months old now, and he's the cutest baby, and he's just the best, cutest little soul. And I just want to give him the best life possible. And I'm so thankful for discovering this healing work with Cambo, because I mean, the adult film industry, it served its purpose for me, during a special time. But the last several years, since my spiritual awakening, the more spiritually awake I become, the more I do not resonate with making adult films anymore. The more I just want to do the healing work. So I want to, by the time my son is old enough to talk and walk, I want him, coming to ceremonies with me and drumming and just being involved in this whole beautiful world. And it's just something that I'm so proud to be a part of, you know.
Well, absolutely. It's something that's really amazing, and I've heard so many things about it throughout the years. You have you know, uh, the people who talk about licking certain toads or frogs, and then I've heard about the Cambo. A lot of what I've heard has actually been through you and the information that you shared about it. But it's just because of that whole Western medicine thing, I was like. I was sure it was illegal, until when you said that it wasn't. That actually surprised me quite a bit. It's actually really amazing that it's
Yeah,
legal and stuff.
yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and a lot of people, I get the questions about the licking toads and stuff. They're like, "Oh, is it that toad thing?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You're probably talking about Bufa, which is 5-MeO-DMT, which, yes, I have experienced, um, and it blasts you in on a soul level into this deep energetic experience of oneness and family in heaven that's so raw and so deep that you cannot comprehend it with your human mind. And when you come back to your body, you will feel profoundly changed, but it is not capable of remembrance with the human mind completely. And that is definitely not what we're talking about here. um Cambo is not a psychedelic, um, but very interesting is that Cambo can put you to sleep. Um, and for those of you in the audience who are listening, uh, some of you, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Rob actually channeled, okay, this is so cool. Rob channeled the Campbell Frog Collective for me. And they came through, and because I'm so deeply intertwined with the spirit of Campbell, I knew immediately that it was them. And it was so cool because the Campbell frogs started just spitting out all this detailed information in a really smooth and well articulated manner about the peptides and about dimensions and how it works with the numbers 3, 6, 9, and 12, and about the moon cycle, and about, I mean, just on and on. And, so yeah, super cool. I gave him permission to release that, so, you know, you can ask him about that if you wanna hear it, but, um, so
Yeah, I still haven't shared that. I've been so far behind on those things, but that would be a really great one to share too. I'll put that in my list. We've actually been working on getting more videos out, so thank you for that reminder. Thank.
oh, yeah, of course, no worries and no rush, but, yeah, that was so amazing to actually hear the Campbell frogs speak like that, and the coolest thing was when they first came through, they wanted to express their joy of speaking for the very first time through human vocal cords, through Rob's human vocal cords, because they said that they had never done that before. They said they normally communicate with humans through the third eye. And so I was just so honored to be the first person to speak with them. And they they commented on how it brings them joy with how I work with their Cambo, because they love how much I honor it and how beautiful I make everything. And but they did. I do want to mention that the Cambo frogs did tell me in that interview that they do not have any preference per se on how it is served in the way of whether you know, pray, like do like big prayers and like light candles and have roses. Like I do all that stuff, but they said that stuff is wonderful, but it's also not necessary. Um, and so just know, you guys out there listening, that if you go to a facilitator and they just sit you down, put on the Cambo, give you your water, and maybe, you know, that's it. It's still extremely sacred and special. And just remember to just let go, just relax and trust the process, and focus on your intention and focus on gratitude in your heart, and to communicate with your facilitator and let them know how you're feeling. You know, I use a number scale, 1 through 10. So, for example, if somebody's just barely feeling just barely something, like the essence of it, that's a 1. If it's a 10, by the way, I'm never gonna let you get to a 10, but a 10 a 10 would be like, "Oh my god, I'm passing out right now. This is extremely mind-blowing intense," you know? Um, but I tell people, you know, to have a good ceremony, stick between a level of intensity of like a 5 and a 7. And if you want to do like a micro ceremony and just feel it out, yeah, stick with like, yeah, maybe a 3, right? But 5 to a 7. But the thing is that's really interesting is, like I was saying before, Cambo does put some people to sleep. And when I interviewed the Cambo frogs through Rob, they told me all about the meaning of that, which I already knew from a deep, profound experience of my own, but I wanted to hear what they had to say about it. And what they said is that uh, some people need to get out of their own way. And for that, for the deeper healing to occur, uh, the camel frogs will put you to sleep. And uh, so if that happens, I find that it usually only happens to about 1 out of every 25 to 50 people, probably like maybe 2 to 4 people out of every 100 it will
Oh
happen to.
wow.
Yeah, but I was one of them, right? Um, I had to get out of my own way. um, and it's necessary sometimes, and it's actually to be celebrated, because if that does happen to you, just know you're getting some really deep work happen, and some big things are happening for you, and it's all good. Um, but you want people to be aware of how to hold space for you if that's going to happen, right? So, I have my surroundings with soft cushions, in case somebody does get put to sleep, because it happens suddenly, right? You don't have a whole lot of warning, except for the levels that you say you're at. Like if I say, "What's your level? What's your number?" and you say, "Oh, I'm a 6." And it's all like a guesstimate. But if you say, "Oh, I'm a 6," "Oh, I think I'm a 7." When people start telling me that, that's when I get even closer to you, and I'm there in a split second. If I see your eyes close, if I see your chin start to go down, I'm there to keep your airway open, to lay you down gently on your side on the cushions, and just allow you to have your experience. Um, but I'm not trying to like badmouth anybody, like, so I'm not going to name names, but I have noticed some facilitators out there that they sit pretty far away, which is fine. You're giving that person space. But if the numbers start to intensify around a level 5 or higher, I believe the facilitator should be right there with the person, like in case they do get put to sleep, because you need to be there to support their physical body, as they go under. Um, so yeah, I like, pillows, cushions, things like that, like around on the floor, and to not be sitting in a chair, to be like on the ground. Unless you have like back or knee problems and you can't go to the ground, then that's fine. And then those people just get extra special attention. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, because I feel, maybe there's other facilitators listening to this, or maybe there's people who are looking into picking a facilitator, and that may help them when they're asking and interviewing their facilitator. Oh, what are your surroundings like? How do you prepare for this? What about this? Just make them feel more safe.
Yeah, that I mean, anything that's new and that affects the biology of your body, it's always important to be cautious, careful. Which leads me to a question that also I think a lot of people will be asking if they're thinking about doing one of these ceremonies themselves. How do you get this sourced? And is the sourcing of the greater community pretty good normally, or do some people get really low grade quality Cambo, or even stuff that's not fully Cambo? Maybe they're mixing it with different oils or something else.
Oh, wow, that's a really good question. As far as I know, I mean, I get mine. I have a source that gets it directly from the tribes. So I'm not exactly sure how everybody else gets it, but and I've never heard of anybody mixing it with anything else. But um,
Well, I knew you wouldn't because you're an honest person, but I
yeah.
imagine there are going to be some facilitators who are also there if they know that it's becoming a trend, or if they hear that
Mm,
people are doing it and say, "Hey, why don't I get in this?" And
mm,
I'm not comparing Cambo to a drug, but anything that changes the biology can be abused or treated like a drug, or the thought process of a person can do that. So what I'm thinking about when I ask that is my own experiences. If you would go into a neighborhood to ask for cocaine, for instance, uh, there could be a million things that people mix with it. Really horrible quality, really great quality, and that's kind of the reason I'm asking is wherever money can be made from anything, there can always be someone who's trying to be greedy, or make more, or mess with something. And that's why I was asking, if you're getting it from someone who gets it from their from the tribes that live in the Amazon, by these areas where the frogs exist out there, then I'm sure that's probably how most other people are getting it too. But I'm glad to hear that you haven't heard about anyone messing with uh, the venom or adding stuff to it. That's assuring that it's probably a better, more safe version that's out in the community more generally.
Yeah, I think that's a excellent concern, or a good, yeah, a very good topic to bring up, because anything, like you said, that can be made into a drug or is a drug or whatever, that alters the body, people want to make money off it and, cut it and like alter it with things. So I get it. Yeah, anything could happen. I've never heard of anything like that happening, but it's always good to just check in with your intuition, check in with your gut and your heart. It's your guidance system, and just uh, I don't know, just expect the best, right? Yeah, connect with good people. If people feel good in the heart, if they feel safe to be around, trust your instinct. And also um uh there is an association called the IAKP. It's iakp.org. And from there, I think worldwide, but at least in the United States. I know you can type in your zip code or your city, and you can find the nearest facilitators from that organization, that are near you. And that's actually how I found a woman who served me, right? Like, and she actually uh, is a master teacher from the IAKP, but she's also a facilitator. So like I found her through that website and she served me. And it's awesome. Now we're friends, and
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, like anytime I have certain questions and I'm like, wait, but what about this? But what about that? She's like, let's schedule a call. And so I do, like, you know, calls with her, and I have a list of questions and she answers all my questions because she's a master teacher. And she's actually spent time in the Amazon with the frogs, with the tribes, and that was how she was initiated into doing Cambo. Um, so yeah, there's facilitators all over the place. For some people that have some real serious ailments going on with themselves, and they can't find a facilitator near them. Some people, it may be worth it to fly, and just listen to your inner guidance, connect with the Campbell frog spirits, because from the interview I did with them through Rob, they said that they are very strong in connecting with humans through the third eye. So if you connect with them and you pray and you ask them, please, like, guide me, and like, where should I go, and how many ceremonies would be best for me, whatever your first intuition is, boom, three, boom, one, you know, uh, whatever it is, just trust that, and listen to your body. Every ceremony you do, like, how am I feeling after the ceremony? How am I feeling the next day, the next week? Um, the Cambo Frog shared during that interview that the lunar cycle, the cycle of the moon, it works with Cambo. So, for example, if you do um, 3, 6, or 9 ceremonies within a lunar cycle. By the way, most people are not going to do 6 or 9 ceremonies in a month. That's a lot. I personally have, but I've gone real deep with it. But most people would just like 3. But listen to yourself, and who knows? Maybe if you're like working with something real deep that you want to get rid of, maybe you'll do 6 or something. But um, the moon is powerful. If you do your all the ceremonies that you wanna do in a lunar cycle from the new moon to the full moon, it is powerful. Um, and yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute and the mouse was sticking, but I appreciate. So this is a fascinating topic in general. And I know you said you got into it from your health, and you shared a little bit about your own personal experiences with it. But can you tell us kind of what illnesses were affecting you? I know I talked a little bit about it in the bio, but w- what was happening with you where you went seeking it out, and how long did it take after you started using it before these ailments stopped plaguing you?
Thank you for asking. I love to talk about it because every single time I talk about this, my eyes light up, my heart opens because this is so incredible to me. Like shocking, incredible that I've been healed. I can honestly say that. It is mind-blowing because okay, so here's what I was dealing with. Um, I had, well, a couple pretty major issues and then some more minor but still like challenging things going on that were also like completely eradicated after my Cambo sessions. So the two major ones. The first one started when I was about 5 years old, and that was digestive problems, meaning like constipation. It got real bad in my 20s. And to me, having a bowel movement once a week was normal to me. I did not know that people were supposed to poop every day.
Well, most
And
people don't when they're not having that going on for themselves, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So who knows? Maybe there's somebody listening to this right now, like, wait, what? It's not? They're just finding out. Yeah, you're supposed to poop like 2 to 3 times a day. So, anyway, I felt gross all the time. I felt bloated and when I would do the adult films, I would usually just not eat the day before and just fast and just drink juice or I would do coffee enemas. I would try to just clean my body out and get my waistline to be smaller. And sometimes I would be really embarrassed because I would show up to set and I just had so much inflammation and like just bloating and constipation and I couldn't use the bathroom. And so I would show up on set and my stomach would be protruding and I would just have to try to consciously remind myself to suck in my tummy and just try to all day just suck it in, just suck it in. And it was really hard for me to do that. Um, and then, I, had acne because of, probably my gut issues messing up my blood and my blood being toxic because everything's sluggish. And, I had BO, it just wasn't good. Um, and then, oh yeah, brain fog. Oh my goodness. Um, so the other major issue was my spine, and that happened because in 2019 I had a surgery, and after the surgery they gave me an antibiotic called ciprofloxacin.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's very common that it can cause tendon disruptions like bursting tendons, weakening them, and things like that, causing issues with ligaments, the lining sac of the heart, all kinds of stuff. And what happened to me was I went to the emergency room from taking Cipro, and uh, I I said my goodbyes to people on Facebook because I said, well, if I die, then I die, right? I said, please just don't be sad. Just remember me for who I am and just be happy you knew me. And if I go to heaven, it's okay. That's basically what I said.
Oh, wow.
Um,
You were
yeah.
that rough in the antibiotic, what do you call it? The response that your body had to it, the allergic response.
Yeah. Yeah, it messed up my heart. I was having severe heart palpitations that took my breath away for days, and so much so that it was forcing me to use my vocal cords even if I didn't want to. Like every heart palpitation, like I'd be like, huh, huh, huh,
Oh,
like over
wow.
and over. It was so intense. It was like having a heart attack. And then my hair started falling out, and my Achilles tendon on my left started to like break down and cause me problems with walking. My knees started to get all messed up, and then my spine, and that was the main issue. And I could feel something attacking my spine, even after I was no longer taking the antibiotic, and I didn't know what was happening to me. And so I prayed for answers. Um, I tried, you know, certain other substances. I'm not going to say what that is right now, but I was desperate. I was really desperate to heal myself, and I was scared. Um, I was by myself. All my family was in Utah, and I was alone and desperate and scared. And I one night just prayed the biggest prayer I've ever prayed in my life. And I said something like, God, universe, please, please, I'm desperate. I'm scared. I feel alone. I need you right now. I need you right now more than I have ever needed you. How do I heal myself? And as soon as I said those words, I got this vision in my third eye, which I don't normally just get third eye visions in the middle of the day. Um, and it was this cartoon bright lime green frog, and in cartoon big letters it says Cambo. And then in that very instance, my or no, it wasn't the daytime, it was nighttime. Yeah, because it was 11 p.m. and somebody texted me right in that exact same instant. Not even a second later, it was that instant. I got a text message alert, and I knew that whatever was in that text message was a message from God about the answer. So it was somebody texting me 3 flame emojis. That was it. And so I was like, okay, this Cambo I'm supposed to do 3 times. And turns out Cambo actually is a fire medicine. It uses the element of fire to transmute. And so I didn't know that at the time, but I sought out somebody, a facilitator who could do this for me. And I told him specifically, I said, I want to do 3 ceremonies, 3 days in a row. And he said, okay. So I slept on his couch. He was so nice. He let me stay there, and um, every morning would wake up and do another ceremony. And very interesting, because when I woke up on day 3 to do my final and third ceremony, I went to light up a cigarette like I always did, with my morning coffee. I gave time for the coffee to get out of my system, of course, before doing Cambo, but uh, my morning cigarette and coffee is something I always felt I had to have. And, you know, I would light up my organic, what's it called? American Spirit, the turquoise pack, like the
Oh
full
yeah.
flavored. Yeah, the full flavored strong ones. That's like all I wanted to smoke. And I took 2 drags of it. And on that second drag, I was like, ugh, ugh, gross. What happened to my cigarette? And I tried one more drag, and I was like, oh no, I cannot smoke this. And I just put it out. And I never smoked it again, except for, let's see, it was maybe 4 occasions, probably, throughout the past few years, like whenever I'd get upset or something. And because smoking is like a form of prayer for me. I smoke and I talk to God, right? And so, so like if I was ever like real upset, okay, I'm gonna go light a cigarette. I'm just gonna go on the balcony and be by myself and be with my thoughts. And um, but besides that, the addiction to cigarettes completely eradicated. Incredible. I was not expecting that. And then when I researched more into Cambo, I realized it's super good at helping people clear addictions, like addictions to unhealthy food habits. Like I said, like opioid, like, lots of stuff. And so I found that to be really interesting. Um, and also, when I showed up there for my ceremonies, I was in such bad condition. I was still walking and stuff, but depending on the day, you might catch me with my walker, and it was hard for me a lot of the time to bend down and pick something up off the floor, or to lower myself to sit on a toilet seat. Um, you know, it was hard because of my spine. And so basically, what happened was something so incredible. I'm so happy to talk about this. I have photos of me that I have my fresh Campbell marks on my arm. You can see it. I'm at the top of Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. I drove there that very weekend, because I think I did Cambo on like a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday or something like that. That weekend, I went to Zion National Park and I hiked all the way to the top of Angel's Landing and I took photos of myself. And I was so proud because I had no pain. My spine felt great. My knees felt great. And I didn't have to deal with that anymore. And I noticed that also after the third ceremony, um, I had a bowel movement in the morning, which I was like, okay, great. But I didn't, nothing seemed out of the ordinary to me. But then the next day and the next day and the next day, it continued happening. I was like, oh my God, I'm not bloated. Oh my God, I'm using the toilet. Like, I don't have to do enemas. What? Like, this is amazing. I feel so light. I feel so good. And then like brain fog started to clear and and just, you know, a lot of people don't like talking about stuff like that. They think it's gross, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a bodily function. And I tell you what, if you're somebody who's ever dealt with having digestive issues like
It's
severe
not fun.
constipation, it is horrible, especially if you deal with it your entire life. And to go from dealing with that my entire life to go to within like a snap of a finger, like all of a sudden, boom, you're healed, you're fixed, done. You have completely normal functioning digestive system. You know, you don't feel inflamed inside. You don't have to drink coffee to use the bathroom in the morning or hope that you use the bathroom because you probably won't, but there might be like a 10% chance it'll help you go. You know what I mean? Like I felt so good. And then on top of that, uh, I used to be like a little bit more shy sometimes in social situations, and um, perhaps Campbell helped to release some of that childhood trauma around like not fitting in, being an indigo as a kid. And because I was not very shy after that, I was talking to people. I felt a great sense of peace within myself and like a deeper level of peace that I didn't have before, not to that level. And it stayed with me all of these years. And it's it's sacred. It's our home, you know, that place of stillness, of peace. And I'm just I invite anyone who feels called to try Cambo to go for it. You know, not everybody is going to feel called to try it. But if you feel the call, then it's probably for a reason. Just make sure that you go over if your facilitator does not ask you some medical questions beforehand, I would just say, you know, be cautious. They might still do a great job and you might be just fine taking Campbell, but you also might not. Depends on your situation.
So,
And
what are some of the contraindicated things? Like if you have heart issues because it's something that speeds your system up, or makes it feel like an upper. You said, is a heart issue something that disqualifies someone?
actually, yes. So when I went to um, the facilitator, I'm not going to name any names, okay? He was very nice to serve me Campbell, and I'm so grateful for that experience. I I no longer speak to him for certain reasons, for personal reasons, but um, you know, he didn't ask me any questions, you know, medical questions, health questions. He was just like, "Sure, I'll serve you." You know, anybody who like is serious about their craft is going to learn how to properly serve it, and that includes, you know, if you're on a bunch of medications, you probably shouldn't be doing Cambo. You know, if you're on, say, an anti-anxiety or an antidepressant or something like that, or certain other medications, then it may be okay, but you know, those have to be looked into. If you're on something like blood pressure medication, for example, that can literally kill you. If you take a blood pressure medication for high blood pressure before having Cambo, you could die, you know, or for example, if you had a 5-MeO DMT experience with Bufo toad 4 to 6 weeks previous to having Cambo applied to your skin for a ceremony, then that could potentially make your heart race too fast, right? And raise your blood pressure too much. So
Wow.
those are just a couple of examples. There's also like a rare, disease called Addison's disease that makes your vessels too elastic and, things like that. So,
They
but
should
most,
know their stuff then. The people who are facilitating should absolutely do their research and make sure,
yeah,
that they know the at least the bare minimal medical stuff.
yeah, yeah. And I would say, even me, some people say, oh, I'm on this medication, this medication, this medication. I gotta be real with you guys. I'm not a doctor, okay? I don't know about what all these crazy names of medications that you're on that I can't even pronounce. I know the basics, right? So if somebody is on a bunch of cocktails of medications, my suggestion to you would be either go to a master teacher, probably like a master teacher from the IAKP, and it'll show you on their website their title if they're a master teacher or not.
I was
They
gonna ask you about that too. Sorry to interrupt. It's IAKP.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. IAKP.org.
KP.org. Okay, because someone asked for that earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt the flow of our chat, but I shared that. Sorry. So you said you can check out for a master healer if you have lots of medication, and they would probably have a better awareness of what it could be or it could not be. But for the most part, if you have heart problems, vascular issues, then be cautious when you're getting into that energy, I would imagine. And I don't want to swing out of the conversation so quickly because this is very interesting. I've learned more tonight about it than I have from the whole time I've been investigating it with you and kind of going through that with you. But I think it is in order to get that session up, and I'll work on getting that around too here in the next month or so. But um, it's come to the time where we're going to go into the lightning round, and this is just a few benevolent questions that I'm going to ask you because now a lot of people know your story who've been here tonight or who are listening later, and they've gotten to know you as a person a little bit. But this kind of gets the people who already knew you or who have already gotten to know you through this process to get to know you on the personal side a bit more. So if you're not comfortable with the question, you can pass. But they're all pretty benevolent. So most people don't have any issue. The last question is the only one that's been a little touchy, but um, it's because some people have had rough childhoods and things. So if you're all right to play this, we'll go through the lightning round with you and ask you some questions and get to know you better.
Yeah, thank you. I'd love to.
All right, beautiful. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Ah, same as me. Love that. What is your favorite food?
Fruit. Because I love fruit because it connects me to, well, it heightens my antenna to hear God.
Nice. Would you ever consider being a fruitarian then? Just eating fruit alone?
Whenever I feel like I'm on another upward spiral in my spiritual awakening, because it's always a deeper layer, right? Um, I will purposefully just do fruit fasts and just live off of fruit smoothies and juices and green juices for like however long, and just like try to naked sunbathe and connect to the earth. And I feel like that's a really great way for anyone who wants to hear, turn up the volume on the voice of the divine.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. What is your favorite band and or song?
Oh, it's hard to pick a favorite. I really like Rufus Du Sol and I really love Coldplay. Um, I would say, yeah, let's just say anything by Coldplay. Just any song by Coldplay.
And Coldplay's pretty good. Yeah, they made some good jams. Thank you. Thank you for that. What is your favorite animal?
I love birds. I'm the bird whisperer, and I just connect with birds so much, and they're just like the cutest little things. And I wish I had wings like a bird so I could fly like them.
Is there a specific type of bird or a breed of bird that stands above the rest, or are they all pretty equal to you?
I love all birds so much, but specifically, again, I really love parrots. So like African grays and conures and stuff like that. I have a real special place in my heart.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I know I'm missing one. I've got two left I can think of, but I know there's one I missed. Yeah, we had a sudden emergency right as the show started with our apartment, so that broke my brain a, a little first off the bat. But
Oh, understandable.
what what is your favorite place that you've ever been for like out in nature? When you've been out in nature, what's the favorite place? Not just for the look and the beauty of it, but for the vibration and the feeling of it.
I would have to say Waimea Canyon in Kauai, on the island of Kauai, because when I was there, it had just like the dewiness and the rain and the rainbows and the life. It's the closest place on Earth that I've ever been to that resembles the fifth dimension. Because well, I have been consciously in the fifth dimension. And, that was definitely the closest that I've ever felt, just pure, oh, goodness.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. My dad and mom, well, my dad traveled to almost all the 50 states. It's before he passed away, he had two left on his list. That was Alaska and Maine. But he said Hawaii was one of his favorite. But anyway, he ended up getting to Maine a couple years before he passed. And then Kalina and I, when we get a chance to travel after Lily gets a little older, we're going to take the ashes up to Alaska and give him his 50th state. So it'll be a fun one.
Aw.
Yeah, so that's pretty great. Last question. This is the one that could be a little touchy for people who might have had bad childhoods, but what's your favorite childhood memory?
Hmm. Uh, it's interesting what comes up. It's, before I ever knew what meditation was or anything like that, I used to just go sit on either on my grass or on my driveway, when the sun was turning all the colors in the sky pink and coral and orange, and I would feel the cement was still warm from earlier in the day, and the air was cool, and I could hear crickets and stuff like that, and I would just sit there in silence and just beingness, and I would, like, get all blissed out. I'd get goosebumps and just bliss out, and, I was meditating, but I didn't really I didn't know what meditation was.
That's actually really amazing. The energy of childhood, and this isn't the same, but I remember whenever I would kind of just want to be away from what was going on around me, family, friends, things like that. I could sit in my bed and just kind of close my eyes, and every part of the sound around me would drown out. I wasn't sleeping. I was fully awake and aware. Even I think that was probably some kind of like meditative pre trance state, but I was able to shut off the audio. So I'd close my eyes and then I would kind of wake myself back up. It was a really interesting thing. And that's what that reminded me of too. So, um,
I love that.
yeah, it was pretty, it was pretty great. We're already at the 30 minutes, but I don't want to jump off without doing these last two things. First, I want to say that I do want you to get a chance to share, how people can contact you for these services, um, how they can connect with you and check out your social media and all that stuff. But before we do that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Especially, even though I was given some advanced heads up, it's a little last minute when someone says, "Hey, can you come on my show and talk as a guest?" Just a couple hours before the show starts. So thank you for doing that. But also, thank you for sharing what you have. The information about this is a hugely interesting topic, something that I think can probably be extremely powerful for myself or for people who I know who are going through certain physical ailments and want curing. So this is just overall fascinating. I love anything that I don't know and I have an opportunity to learn about. But this sounds, the energy of that whole thing is just amazing. And I really appreciate you sharing that. But I also appreciate you for sharing as you do. You share a lot on your Facebook, and you share about your whole process of birth and your whole process of being pregnant and your whole process of working with all the energy that you have. So all these things are just fascinating, but you come and you share and you're transparent. You're very open about everything. So thank you for doing all of that. I really appreciate just getting to know you and being able to know you. And I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rob. I greatly admire you as a friend and just as a channeler as well, but just I've always felt this great connection to you, like a past life connection or something. I don't know, you're basically family to me, you know? That's how I feel. So yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you too. I feel that connection too. And I'm really grateful that you had a chance to share this with other people. So the last thing we'll ask before we close the show out tonight, let's say someone in the audience heard and wanted to explore more, wanted to look at your work, wanted to get a chance to connect with you. What are the places that people can connect to you with, and how would they go about getting that process started?
The best place to connect with me, I would say would be my Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, um, it is at the Cambo Queen. And then Instagram, same thing, at the Campbell Queen. My Instagram, I don't check as much. I am, now that I'm starting to serve ceremony again, I am going to start being more proactive in going on my Instagram. But that might take me a few weeks to get in the hang of that. But my Facebook, I'm on Facebook every day. So I will get those alerts if you message me there. You're welcome to have a call with me or a video chat or whatever you wish. I can send you an educational video that's very well made on Cambo. I can send you um, information on any questions you may have.
Well, that's beautiful. And yeah, her Facebook, this is how we've gotten to know each other, connecting on Facebook, and it's a very active place too. And I'm glad to hear you're branching out in Instagram too. I had a friend who helped me with my Instagram, and he got it set up to be a lot better off than what it was. So Instagram's pretty great place to connect with new people. But thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank all of you guys who have been here tonight. Your questions that you've been asking in the chat were amazing. Your conversations with each other are amazing as always. Thank you all, my brainiacs out there in the Matrix minds. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you showing up here. And thank you all from the ET Whisperer YouTube channel. And thank everyone who's come by to watch. I am going to see you guys next week. And I am not 100% sure who the guest will be. I think I have someone scheduled, but I don't have it with me because of how crazy things were before I got on air. But we will be here regardless every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and that's 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. And thank you guys for showing up tonight. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week on the other side. And thanks again. I really, really am grateful to have you here tonight, and thank you for showing up.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.